Welcome to the OTP podcast, where we bring you uncensored and unfiltered football chat. I'm your host, O or OJ, joined by my co-hosts, Mr. White and Chinny. How you guys feeling?
The champions. That's how I'm feeling.
Remember that first line, yeah? The champions, yeah? The champions.
Boy, we all know you ain't going to be singing that this year, boy. You know, it's been good, bro. You know what I mean?
That's
6 years in the waiting. 6 years, bro. In the doldrums. You know what I mean? Just to hear that anthem play, boy. But, you know, like we never left, bro. You know what I'm trying to say to you?
Yeah,
nice, comfortable Wednesday. You know what I mean? Stroll in the rain. It was all good.
Hey, them weathers. Oh, my God. The weather was awful. It's been awful, but that awful.
Torrential in that bitch.
Yo, I went straight after work here, and I was in some jeans. And I was like, why did I just go home and get changed? Like wet jeans is not the one, bro. I didn't have time to get tracksuit buttons, bro. It was awful.
And I went to hear the Champions League anthem, yeah? I see you, O.
I'm a football fan first, so I wanted to see some football, you know.
I didn't Europa League anthem already, yeah?
Huh?
Tired of that Europa League. Whoa. You're tired of that one.
I can't lie to you. I catch the game straight at kickoff. I don't watch none of that. The team news on Twitter. I go straight at kickoff is when I load in. I'm not about with that. But yeah, the atmosphere. Obviously, I've been to the Champions League at Anfield and whatnot as well. And personally, obviously Anfield's better. But no, it was. I like to watch football, innit? So for me, it was just we knew how the game was gonna go, but I just loved it.
Did you sing along? No,
you know what? Can I say something though? I posted, yeah, and some guy was like, "Come on, Arsenal!" And someone was like, "Bro, are you saying come on?" I was like, "Nah, that's not me, bro. that's never not me." I didn't say I went for the, you know, but just.
Bro, you know what you sound like, bro? You sound like you're on a dock, yeah, and you're struggling to come up with a good story, bro. Why you went? I'm a football fan. Let's keep it 100, bro.
Because I got a little star, you're drawing me out. Is that what you're saying?
Bro.
Is that what you're saying?
Bro. Listen, I'm part of the starter gang myself, so I'm not even trying to draw you out, bro. I'm not even trying to draw you about stuttering. But I'm saying to you, that lie there, like, I'm a football fan first.
Stutter. No, right? I go to games, bro. I've seen their teams play. Like, I watch football.
You enjoyed us, didn't you?
Yeah. Bro, listen, I watch football too, bro.
No, I didn't enjoy it.
From the comfort of my home. I ain't going to Anfield. You didn't see me traveling to Anfield.
I enjoy.
We're going to the bridge for Champions League nights. You never catch.
I did not enjoy your game. No, I did not enjoy it.
Oh,
it was a very one-sided game. No, I did not enjoy it.
You know, it must be hard seeing teams know how to defend, not put their centre backs under pressure, let teams cut through them. It must be a difficult watch.
Listen, you guys took your shit. I can't lie, because we took our shit. Took your shit. You guys are coming for me. I'm with you guys. Took your shit. It's cool,
bro. Because I saw your Europa League game, bro. I saw some of the highlights, and I saw. I don't even know their name, bro. I can't even LASK, bro. I don't even know what that stands for, bro. But you know, I'm trying to say to you, it sounds like an airport name. But let's keep it 100, bro. They created chances. You know, I'm trying to say to you, scored a nice goal. I see Keller having to make save after save.
Yeah,
it ain't easy.
How did that game end?
It's all right.
What you said?
We'll save the European banners. but we still got something good to talk about first.
God.
OJ, you know, because obviously you was at the game the other day, you might as well start.
I'm definitely not speaking about this game. You know? You guys can run lead. You guys can run league today. I'm not talking about your
Bro, listen. You're a footballing man, so you know you went to the game for footballing reasons, right? To study Arsenal.
Because I know, straight after the performance we had and what we got, Chinny said he's gonna run host today, and I'm just gonna be the innocent bystander who's gonna just comment on things.
I want to get your take on what you saw, what you liked, you know what I mean? Because you went there for football reasons. So I really want to delve into that, like, you know what I mean, and see what you got from that. Because obviously you went there to expand your footballing knowledge, innit? So let's hear it.
Yeah, as we break down this weekend's big fixture.
See, he does it so good.
As we break down this week's fixture, we can talk about what O saw and why he thinks that Arsenal are going to be the beneficiaries or the winners of the game this coming Sunday at the North London Derby.
Well, so if he thinks that as well.
Massive North London Derby. Both teams unbeaten. Big clash at the Emirates. What are you thinking? What did you see?
My exact words, but Arsenal win. I don't see Arsenal lose. I think Arsenal are they're enjoyable to watch. They're even better to watch live. I can't lie.
We're dangerous.
Oh, that hurt. No. All jokes aside, obviously, I've seen Arsenal play a lot, and there's something different about this squad. It's something special. I'll be honest, and especially with, I had to tweet straight after. Like, I've always liked Saliba, and I'm trying to find flaws in his game, and I just can't find any. Like, I was nitpicking. I think he missed the header once, and I was like, there's one, but it wasn't even like a, you know what I mean? He would just, I was just like, I'm not even going into. I'm not going to do a Mr. Wide because it's a shame because my team, they are the. He always talks about Arsenal no matter what team I'm talking about. But honestly, I can't see Arsenal losing that game. Odegaard, the way he's playing, the way Rice is playing, like just the spine of your team and the change of goalkeeper, that's some great business. Even if you decide to sell on and sell him or move on Ramsdale, I can't lie to you. You guys have done some great business and you guys have got some great additions. My thing is for you guys for the season is what happens if Saka gets hurt, but ride the train as long and the roller coaster as long as it goes. And I think you guys really have something special then. And I feel like Tottenham are going to be in for a shock because you guys are absolutely a joy to watch and play some good football. Odegaard, to me, I was one of the people when he came, I was like, but Jesus Christ, he is a baller. The only thing about him, I would say, he's always got to like do something fancy before he takes a shot and makes a pass. Like he's always got to like turn a man or something, whatever. But his game is just, I got to give it to him. He is an amazing player.
Word to Meek Mill, yeah. Word to Meek Mill. I used to pray for times like this. To see other fans talk about my team like this. Listen.
Well, I'm a footballing fan. Now, all jokes aside, though, I feel like you guys, we talk about, we're old school footballers and we're older, so we're older generation. I feel like, you talk about how important having a spine is. And you can see it with my team. It's one of the biggest issues we have, especially in midfield. But for you guys, I think the spine, and then you've got people that come off the bench like Trossard, who comes on and scores he's just, like, you guys have players who, again, I think, on paper, some people might say, they're not better than this person, but the work rate, the energy, the contribution is just that your team just does not stop at all. It's just relentless, moving very relentless, and they're still very young, so they've clicked and they've got so much more time together, and that's one of the scariest things about Arsenal. I'm not saying, all jokes aside, I don't think you're gonna brush Tottenham aside, but there's no way I see Tottenham coming out there with a point at all. This is a big test for them, and I don't think they're going to be able to handle it. Like, to constantly be getting attacked by Arsenal, and then having someone like Rice is a beautiful signing, man.
I mean, yeah.
Hey, Chinny, don't it make? Bro, I feel like I'm almost blushing here, and another person is raised by your team. You know what I'm saying to you, bro? Bro, like, it feels nice. It's been a minute, bro. You know what I mean? Compliments, you know what I mean? They boost morale, you know what I mean? I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? I could sit back and listen to OJ.
Make sure you win, because if you don't win, I'm going for you. I'm going for you on Sunday.
Bro, as you should, bro. But yeah, I mean, I think, to touch on the Champions League game, I think, back like we never left, you know what I mean? Made it look easy. And it was nice to have a team come and actually want to try and play ball. Because if you look at our first five fixtures, You know, everybody's kind of sat back in that low block. Fulham was sat in that low block. They got an early goal, sat in that block. Man United never really came to play. Everton never came to play. Nottingham Forest never came to play. But am I missing anybody else in who we played? But yeah, we've constantly
better quality though. What I realized, there were moments where they was very scrappy, but they had a better quality striker and maybe a better quality winger. I think they could have caused you a little trouble. They caused you none really, but they had chances. So
I think Noah Lang looked good. Noah Lang's, you know what I mean?
I want to see what happens when you guys are playing like bigger European opposition. I want to see what happens. Or
both
nice.
of us want to see that. Both of us, we all want to see that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice not to see Saka get double and tripled up on, because for once it was just Saka versus his, versus his fullback, and he had that fullback on skates. Seeing obviously the keeper coming in, Raya coming in, is, I think it's a kick up the backside for Ramsdale, because I think he's been a bit lackluster in terms of his mentality. I feel like it's going to sound bad. It's almost like he's got, ADHD, in the sense of like he needs something to keep his mind going. He loses interest in the game. That's how I feel when I watch Ramsdale sometimes. Like, he's not, if he ain't bantering with the away fans, he needs like he gets lost. Like, you remember there was that one goal, I think it was against Southampton, when man got distracted by the pigeon. Do you remember that goal? I'm sure you remember that, Chidi. Yeah, bro. Like, there's always like, and I feel like the top players, the most elite players, are always switched on. And as a goalkeeper, it's a position where you may not be involved for 80, 90 minutes in the game, but you'll have that one moment, and you just have to be sharp in that moment. And although Ramsdale has elements to his game where he's exceptional, he has a big negative in that mental aspect of the game where he can't be switched on, or he needs something to keep him switched on. And he also doesn't exude as much calmness as I would like from a keeper. There's always this level of like erraticness that comes with him, or some kind of like wanting to be like the standout. Like, he wants to let his presence be known, but you don't need that from a top goalkeeper. If you look at historically the best goalkeepers in the world, from Schmeichel, if you look at Alisson, they don't have this kind of like hero, I want to be, the face of it.
They just play their part.
Yeah,
something about Raya that I saw and I liked? This is what his second game in, right? Second start. So my thing is, the way I loved watching him command his box, and constantly speak to the players throughout the whole game. And even if he didn't give it to the right back or the centre back, he was constantly, don't worry, like, I've gone this way, I did see you and whatnot. Now, I don't know if it's a thing that, when you're new, the new guy at work, and you're the new guy at work, and then. But I hope this is something that's naturally embedded in him, because it's amazing to watch for a goalkeeper and so refreshing. A lot of goalkeepers that I've seen, even top goalkeepers, sometimes do hide behind just their, the character-wise, they just not hide behind their saves, but they just, you don't see that. And I feel like goalkeepers are, to me, like should be like captain-esque, where they're just telling, like, just always giving out, all barking out orders or trying to talk. So for me, it was very refreshing to see, because I don't see that as much as I used to from back in the day. Like, you talk about some of the greats like Peter Schmeichel and that, where you used to always bark orders and whatnot. But I saw that with him, and I just don't feel like I've seen that much with Ramsdale. I could be wrong, but it was refreshing to see that, and I just love that goalkeeper that has that element.
Yeah, I think he gives us a calmness. I definitely feel like we've seen it even at Everton, like the way he'd come and collect balls. Like Ramsdale, there's always like he'll go and he'll try. Like, I remember like the Man United game last season at home.
I was about to pause you, and then I realized we're on the show. I realized we're on the show, so I was gonna pause you.
But like I remember that like a little thing when he came out, flapped at the ball, and then Lissandro Lannister had a little header, that little lobbed header that went in. So you get these moments, and I feel like the biggest thing for Ramsdale is that if he was able to fix himself mentally, then there's no stopping him. And I think his ceiling is higher than Raya's, but I feel like the mental aspect of his game is lacking, and I feel like that's where Raya's kind of goes up a lot more ahead, a lot more calmer, a lot more relaxed, a lot more assured. But I know Chinny had something to say on this before I interrupted, so.
No, I was thinking. Well, first of all, let me dive into Raya and Ramsdale first. Raya obviously exudes some. He gives our defense some assurance. Like he comes and catches majority of the balls. For any player, defender, when your keeper comes and catches the ball and you realize that you don't have to defend, that is like number one thing on the list. That you have the other team have a corner and your keeper just says, "Yep." As a defender, you're like, "Right, I don't even have to mark my man because my keeper's coming to take this." That for me is amazing. The amount of balls that he catches for someone that's so small is crazy. Well, small in comparison to other goalkeepers. Obviously, on the ball, we know what he's about. I think he pinged 12 accurate long passes the other day. It was the most in a Champions League game in game week 1. There was one where he like zinged it to Havertz, skipped about 3 man out. There's another one where he's pinged it up to Havertz, and Havertz has flicked it. The type of range of passes that he's capable of doing with a slightly more ease than Ramsdale is a bit scary. But Ramsdale's shot stopping is what will always make him be very valuable. Because he has these erratic moments, but he makes some massive saves. Last year against Spurs away, when we went there and won, I remember he made a couple saves. I think when we were 1-0 up. One from Son, that really close range. One from Ryan Sessegnon in the second half, really close range. There's the ones against Bournemouth last year when we went 1-0 down after 1 minute. He does come up trumps, but like you said, his mentality is where that lets him down. He loses focus. He gets too caught up in the emotion of the game and the crowd. Sometimes that benefits him, especially when we're playing away. But at home, I think he gets too into our crowd and it makes us a bit easier to get through. He just gets too emotional and too into it. But one thing I was going to say is that on the last show, me and OJ spoke about Onana and his mental instability.
We'll touch on that when we go to United.
You already know what I'm going to say because the
talking shit, bro.
There is crazy. The hypocrisy. I'm feeling the hypocrisy. But yeah, we'll touch that when we hit.
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. Very good point, Jimmy. Very good point.
But can I just say something about Ramsdale quickly on the keeper whole thing, right?
Yes, you may.
I think keepers, is a very, and it's kind of similar to strikers. When you do good things, they get highlighted. But also, when you make an error, it's almost like if you score 30 goals a season and then you miss a key opportunity in a season-defining game, that will kind of be highlighted just as much as the goals you've scored. And I think when you look at Ramsdale, yes, he does make key saves, and yes, he was a vital component to our title charge last season. But I also feel like in key moments last season, he wasn't what we needed from him. Like, you remember the Southampton game, I think he just passed it out willy-nilly in the first 10, 20 seconds of that game. And we conceded because of it. There's, his near post, there's always been a contention of weakness for him. He gets beat at that near post so much. And obviously, and his distribution, in my opinion, when I saw Ramsdale first come to Arsenal, if you compare how his distribution was when he first arrived to where it is now, it's chalk and cheese. It's like he had so much more confidence playing with the ball at his feet when he first arrived. And when you watched him against United, he was just constantly hoofing the ball. There wasn't that composure. There wasn't, let me get my foot on the ball and actually play. And I feel like I saw that a lot in pre-season. I saw it in a United game in pre-season. I know he has to play long at times and he wants to find Havertz and etc. But at the same time, there's also moments where you need to play it short, and he's lost aspects to his game. So, like any position on the pitch, I feel like you need competition, and you need someone. Matt Turner was never going to be that person that had man on his toes because he's not comfortable at ball playing whatsoever. So now that Ray is there, it gives him that incentive to kind of either improve, level up, step up, fix your weaknesses, or, ride bench. So it's up to him to kind of like prove himself.
In regards to the game tomorrow, though, obviously we spoke about it. You especially spoke about it. You lot have been given Spurs their props, and rightly so. They've changed the way they play. There's a style. There's more free flowing. It looks a bit more fun. The team looks like they're doing things for the team. And obviously they come to the Emirates where they haven't had the best of times in recent years. And obviously we're at a good place as well. But all I see is that if they come here playing that same way, this could go very tits up for them. Because,
not according to their manager.
I think it's like, like we can all be good at football, but someone is always better. So we're good at football. Like Arsenal are good at football, but by no means are we stupid enough to go to certain places and play exactly the same way, because it leaves you too open to play the other team when they have better players. If they're just a better team, they will expose where you're weak. And Tottenham may be a good team and they may play the right way, but we have been doing the same thing for a longer period of time and we are better than them. And for me, that's just a fact. Whether we win the game or not, where if they're going to go head to head and we're going to go pass for pass, shot for shot, I don't really know if that's the right way for Spurs to go. I'm hoping that machine for machine. I'm hoping that's the way they choose to go, because I think that'll play right into our hands. I'm a bit skeptical about who's going to start in that left centre mid row, because obviously Vieira came in and had a decent game against Everton as well. Nothing to complain about. I thought he was good. Havertz came in against PSV and was very good. I think that was his best game in an Arsenal shirt so far this season for me. Havertz. Well, you wasn't feeling him? I thought he knitted stuff together. He worked like he didn't do anything special because
that'd be his best game. But if you're
but it depends kind of what you're watching. And then when he went up top for the last bits, I think it shows you the different dimension that we can use him for. Having Jesus back is massive because Eddie has been decent, but the difference in quality between Jesus and Eddie is that's chalk and cheese. That is so blatant to see that I understand why Arsenal fans do get irritated when we don't sign another striker and we're saying, oh, we have Eddie, because the difference between the two players is crazy. But still big up Eddie in it. But I'm only seeing an Arsenal win here. I'm seeing a 3-1 because we like to concede at home. But I don't feel like it's going to be as close as people may think.
Do you know what I think is going to be more of the telling factor than how Spurs play? I think it's going to be the Emirates atmosphere. Because I feel like if you look at Spurs' team, they're still pretty young. You've got Pape Sarr, you've got Udogie, Romero, somebody who gets is an overly emotional player. So if you look at that, I feel like that's going to be the biggest thing, one of the biggest hurdles for them to overcome, because that atmosphere, I'm sure you can attest to that, or even as a Liverpool fan, when you went to see, the game midweek. But that atmosphere now is something different, and especially at North London derby, that's going to create a different level of pressure on these players. So it's not only just playing attacking football, but I think it's just having to deal with that pressure and that level of noise and scrutiny and emotion that comes behind it, and knowing the importance of the weight of the game and how much it means to the fans. And I feel like that's going to be one of the big reasons why I could see Spurs, why I see Spurs losing. On top of obviously the fact they will try and play full-flowing football, but as we've seen many times with full-flowing football, it can go naturally. It can go either way, right? If you pick your right moments, you can capitalize on your opponent's weakness and etc. But I think the atmosphere is the biggest thing that's going to be a shock to these players, and I don't see them being able to rise to that occasion. They're still very early in their evolution. If you look at where they've gone to this season, they haven't gone to nowhere near. There's been no game they played this season that's anywhere near that evokes this level of emotion. So I genuinely see them crumbling under that, and I feel like the lights will be too bright. I know it's a 2 p.m. kickoff, but I feel like that's just going to be too much for them, and I feel it might turn out to be a comfortable Arsenal win. You know, I feel like that's going to be the defining factor.
Atmosphere. See, you talk about Romero. I think he's just going to be trying to just collide everybody. Emotions are going to. Stadium emotions, the fans. It's going to play. You're right. It's going to play huge. But I agree with that. That's a very good point.
It's going to be a big game. I guess we'll see.
None of us see Spurs coming out with even a
bro. Listen, even Arsenal last season, we saw what Anfield did to Arsenal once that whole Xhaka altercation kicked off. It completely changed that kind of.
Don't play with our star boy.
Yeah. But it changed the dynamic of the game, and I feel like how are Spurs going to deal with especially in that first 5-10 minutes, when every touch is getting booed, when they're under so much pressure, when they're in possession, when they're trying to play out, if they lose the ball, it's going to be so difficult to kind of get their foot back on that ball and get back that composure.
You're right. The age, the mentality.
Pedro Porro's never played there before. Udogi's never played there before. Pape Matasar's never played there before. So that's I'm looking at just the core of all. That's a significant amount of players, and then you've got players like Perisic out now for like 5 months. That team's not really that.
For Basuma, it's going to be a huge job. Huge job. Where he's gliding through and he's having fun right now, and it's sexy time.
Basuma can glide through, but just know if you glide and we win that ball and you're not following Martin Odegaard, you better know what time it is.
Bro, because there are times where I see him just stepping back into position a lot and whatnot. He can't do that at Emirates.
Bro, do you remember a few weeks ago we had this conversation where I said to you, that is one reason why I don't see Basuma being a top loan 6, because he doesn't just sit in that position and hold. He wants to play the game. Like for me, he should be an 8 and you should have a dedicated 6 beside him and allow him to express himself. But Basuma's somebody who wants to go out and play and come forward and dribble forward and create and shoot. He's involved in all phases of the game. And I feel like that will cost Tottenham. I think it nearly cost them against Brentford at times. And I feel like in big games, it will cost them. Go back onto Arsenal, I think Fabio Vieira will probably start. I think he's been a different man since that Community Shield penalty, like getting that winning penalty. I think that completely changed his arc or the trajectory of his Arsenal career. Because even in pre-season, like he was okay in pre-season, and then he had the penalty miss against Man United. Then he came in again, did a little bit better. But I think getting that winning penalty, especially against City in the Community Shield, since then I feel like that was still like that was the trajectory to kind of
improve. I agree, definitely improve.
So I'd expect him to play, man. I thought Havertz played well in the 9. I felt he was okay midfield, but I felt like when he went into the 9, I felt he shined more. Used his body well, linking up play, making smart runs. I thought in midfield sometimes I don't see him taking control as much as I'd like to. I like to see him be more involved. Like when you see Odegaard play or you see Vieira play, they're more willing to get on that ball. Whereas sometimes I feel like Havertz kind of hides. Like he doesn't go into positions and request the ball. And that's where
my biggest problem with him. That's why when Chinny said he had a better game, I feel like
he's not that player though. He's not asked to do that job.
Yeah, but with his quality,
but he's not asked to. And his quality isn't receiving it from the defender. His quality is arriving.
You don't have to be from the defender.
No, but I'm not even asking to receive it from the defenders.
His quality is not to receive it
at all.
What I'm trying.
No, but at all though, so he doesn't receive from nobody. So
he should be able to receive it, but his main qualities are not to do that, which is why we do the inverted, which is why we have that.
But what I mean is, what I'm trying to say, Chinny, though, is like further up the pitch here, I'm not expecting him to receive it in deep areas. That's not in any way, shape, or form what I'm saying. I just mean, even when we're in the attacking area, when we're in the opposition's half, in the attacking third, I don't see him going to positions and go into a place where he can get the ball and actually try and hurt the opponents. And I feel like, again, that's more to do with his lack of confidence, because if he loses that ball in that position, then obviously there's a greater risk for a transition and the opposition having a chance on goal. sometimes I like to see him when he's in that final third, going into nice little pockets, requesting the ball and trying to make a pass, trying to be more aggressive or dribbling or some sort of action, some forward-thinking action is what I'm asking for. I'm not expecting him to take it off the centre-backs and do the Odegaard or do the Zinchenko role, but I just want him to be more kind of like domineering when he's in the attacking third. And I felt like I saw more of that when he was up front. But that's also to do with when you're up front, there's less, if you lose it, you've still got how many players behind you, right? But when you lose it as an 8, there's less people behind you to cover up for your mistakes.
I hear you. Oh, man. It'll be a good game. Super Sunday, you know how it goes. Atmosphere will be crazy.
I got asked this question. I'm actually ask one question. How many goals do you project him to score this season?
In all comps?
Yeah.
12.
Mr. Y? Wow, Mr. Y.
How much he's...
Are you being generous here, or this is what he's gonna get?
What, me?
Yeah, you said
12,
12.
bro. In all comps.
Is that you being generous, or is that
you being hopeful? Or is that what you believe?
No, that's what I believe.
I bet.
From what I've seen so far, I'd go probably 8. Is based on what I've seen so far. I don't see enough conviction in the final third yet. Hopefully, with confidence, if he gets that conviction, he can definitely get 12 and plus.
He's a Jurgen hug.
Bro, he needs love, bro. I feel like certain players, like we saw Fabio Vieira, man. Fabio Vieira last season, looked so devoid of any confidence. Every time he got the ball, he didn't look like he was always playing the safe option. He wasn't his pass. There was no conviction in anything he did. Compare that to what we've seen so far this season. I know it's a small sample size, but it's a completely different player, and it just shows you what a difference confidence makes and how key that is to a player's, overall game and their ability to kind of imprint themselves on the game.
I hear it.
Well, I guess we'll see how that goes. Obviously, 2 Arsenal fans here. Next show could be a cracker or it could be a real downer.
Right, trust me. Right now, bro.
I'm on a real cracker now as we go into my favorite team to talk about currently.
Let's get the Onana. Let's get the Onana talk off in it, because I know you man been itching still.
Man's been telling you. We've been telling you. We've been screaming at you. That the Don is mistake prone. He's just lost. If we talk about Ramsdale wanting to be the center of attention, Onana is that guy. He likes to be that guy, and he's not that guy. We didn't see his passing ability too much against Bayern the other day. What we did see is a keeper that didn't want to be a keeper. It was just like, what the hell is going on here? But obviously, the loss wasn't his fault to Bayern Munich, totally. He took the L.
Well, technically, kind of was. Listen, I've not been. I'll keep it 100. I've been an advocate for Onana, right? But I will sit here and say that L was on him, because his first goal, the first goal that went in was his blunder. And if you look at the final score of that game, they only won by 1 goal margin. So what'd you say?
You can never judge it on that. Like Bayern looked like.
No, but I'm just saying to you, like, if we just look at it in eventualities, like, if from what we can say is that goal changed the tie completely, right? And that gave them the head start they needed. So I don't mind.
What did the man say? We ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life, yeah.
Bro,
hey,
you know what?
This boy was coming for me. We had to take a pause in our segment to talk about goalkeepers and whatnot. It was going back and forth over this, and then he pulls that out. It's exactly what I said. I said, I don't even got to say nothing. His performances will talk for me. That was my words. I ain't got to say nothing. I said the end of the season, you will say it.
I thought we'd wait a little longer, but it only took 3
I said the end of the season.
Listen, I'll keep it 100. I don't think he's been good so far. However, but I don't think, and I've said this before, I've always said I think he's a brilliant ball-playing goalkeeper, and I think he's a decent shot stopper. But at the same time, I've seen United ruin a lot of careers, and I feel like he's just one that's going to be amongst a long list of players. Because if you look at the structure United have when he's playing that, there is no structure. You go into a city, you go into a City as well, you go into an Arsenal, you go to a Liverpool, not this season, but previously in the past. But you go to them kind of teams.
You don't even have to say that.
You go into these kind of teams that have got some structure to them, and we spoke about it with Van Dijk. I've spoken about it with Caicedo. You see it when you put certain players in the right structure, they shine. However, you've completely you've basically made him. You're better off playing with David De Gea, who's a shot stop.
But that's the thing. That's my argument. They were going after him like he was their player of the season, voted boom, 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 year after year after year, because he was doing what needs to do in a terrible structure with terrible managers, with players, the rotation of people in front of him, and the stick he got. Okay, he's not a ball playing goalkeeper, but this goalkeeper's coming, and we're not really. I understand he's new and it's the weather, but we're giving him the more benefits of the doubt. So, personally, I'm a bit more harsh in this conversation because I genuinely don't think he's that good of a goalkeeper. I've said it. I'll say it once. He'll prove it at the end of the season. He might prove it against Burnley. So, but bro, I just feel like they've got a man on. They let him go as a free agent.
But I'll give you an example, right? Because this is very simple. If you were Man City, would you go for if you're a relegation-stricken team, you wouldn't go for, let's say, no. If you've got a team that's going to concede shot after shot, that's not the type of keeper you'd go for. But if you're a team that want to play expansive, possession-based, if you're trying to change the way in which your team play football moving forward, and that's what we assumed with Ten Hag would be, that was the remit of which I gave Ten Hag this season, right?
That's what we think. I don't know what he's doing.
No, but I'm saying to you, but naturally, you would think that he signed a ball-playing centre-half in Lisandro Martinez. He signed a ball-playing goalkeeper. He signed Amrabat, who's more possession-based. So you're looking at him trying to transition. You would, naturally, you can, from them signings, you can make the conclusion that that's what they're trying to move to, having 100%. More control, building out of the back, etc.
Yes.
So in regards to that, Onana fits the bill. But the reality is that Man United haven't transitioned to that perfectly, and in fact there's still a team that are more like that, where the keeper is more active than not, and they're not controlling games, and that's not the type of keeper you want Onana for, right? That's not where he's not a De Gea, he's not a Nick Pope,
but I can judge him on his individual mistakes and his individual things. Then he's done enough already for me to create at least a 2-minute like YouTube video of like mistakes or videos or something. He's done enough. He's done, for me, he's done enough already. What are we, 5 games in? He's done enough for me to talk my shit and say he's not the guy, bro. I don't care if he was whatever. He's not that guy. Like, we can go back to when he played here and there. He's not that guy.
I think if he was in the right system with the right team, I think he'd be a better.
He'd still be making these mistakes.
No,
he'd still be making these mistakes.
Listen, and I said this to you before, though. Edison has. Could you imagine? Let me ask a question. Edison, right?
He's still making mistakes.
Hold on. If Edison went to a relegation-based team, yeah, or a team that concedes bare shots, your opinion of Edison would change drastically because he's not an exceptional shot stopper. He's actually very average as a shot stopper. If you look at his stats, statistically speaking, and if you look at the data when it comes to Edison, he's not a great shot stopper. But what makes him good is. Pardon?
Neither is Onana.
No, I'm not saying he's an exceptional thing, but again, that's not what you're signing them. Them two type of keepers, you don't sign them.
Of course you sign. He's a goalkeeper. He's got to save shots.
Bro, but that's like me saying, like, all right, Zinchenko's not a great defender, but what he does do is he's a specialist player for the first team.
But he's good enough.
But he's still got a defender, right? You don't get loud.
No, but listen, I would say if you ask me as a defender, is Zinchenko good enough? I'd say no, because I would defend him. If you put Zinchenko in a team where you've got a winger running at him for the whole game, you're going to see somebody get pummeled, bro. Yeah, I'm talking. Yeah, I'm trying to say to you, right? I'm talking black.com. Yeah, I'm saying you put a fast, rapid. Yeah.
Like we can hide certain players' flaws.
Huh?
We can hide certain players' flaws. So Zinchenko, we don't really let him get one-on-one. When Liverpool had Trent and they had the midfield free, they didn't really let Trent go get one-on-one, which made him look better. Whereas a keeper, you can't hide that flaw. You have to be there and save shots.
Of course, but I'm saying to you, but if you're having statistically, you're facing 20 shots a game, and you're facing, because think about it, if you look at his career, even at Inter, and you see what Inter fans said about him, Inter's defense weren't leaking chance after chance. right? And when he was called upon, he did well. If you look at him in the Champions League last season, when he was confident, he did well in the Champions League.
But he
right?
made mistakes.
I remember. Pardon?
He made like crucial errors.
Not in the Champions League
as well.
No, bro, in the Champions League, he was one of the most outstanding goalkeepers in the Champions League.
Bro,
if you look at his shot stopping in the Champions League last season, I watched into games.
All right, do you know how I'm going to counter that argument?
Go on.
That year that we lost to Real Madrid in Champions League, and it was our keeper's fault. What's his name again? Curious, yeah? Whatever his name is. Yeah?
Karius, yeah.
Karius, sorry. He was the goalkeeper of the Champions League at that time.
Okay.
But he wasn't great though. He had those accolades too. But again, I'm not watching accolades. I'm watching him. And when we played it in the Champions League, he made mistakes. He came out rushing, balls went over his head. He's done these things. I seen him physically, eye test, make mistakes in these. But we're giving him best goalkeeper. Okay, but he's making mistakes. He's got those mistakes in him too often. Is why I do not rate him as a goalkeeper.
But I'm saying to you,
and
you not see Edison make
5 games in the Premier League, 5 in the Premier League, and he's also played what they play in 6 games, whatever. He's made big, huge mistakes in those in a few of those games. So for me, that's my point. I said he's going to make these mistakes. He's making a mistake. That's his individual. That's not the centre back's making a mistake. That's his personal decision making.
Mistakes. Yeah, I know. But I'm saying I see Edison. But my whole thing is I see Edison do. I remember Edison coming with an Undertaker kick to Mane. Do you remember that? And got sent off.
Yeah,
I see Edison come out, flying out, take Eddie and Ketia out. Yeah,
I hear it.
Right?
I don't think Edison
those types of
balls great, but he's better than one thing's better than another. And two, them mistakes, them. See this goalkeeper. See this goalkeeper here. Yeah, you rate him higher than I think you need to rate him. Personally, I don't think he's that great. I don't think he's that great as a goalkeeper.
I've always said, and I've always maintained
Edison's got less mistakes in him than he does.
I always maintain this, that in the right system, he's a good goalkeeper for a right system.
Yeah, but in the right system, Milner could look like a god. Like in the right system, anybody.
No, but I'm saying to you, like I wouldn't. But it's like I'll give you an example. I wouldn't want a Nick Pope at Arsenal. I don't think Pep Guardiola would want a Nick Pope at Man United, at Man City, because of how they play. It doesn't suit them. Having a shot stopper, especially a shot stopper, is not what they need. They need somebody who's real comfortable on the ball.
However, it's not what they need. But if he couldn't pass and the manager said, you know what, just kick it long, and then he still done his shot stopping, then what?
Bro, but Joe Hart was that, and Pep said bounce. Remember, Pep came in.
Yeah, because he wanted perfection.
No, he wanted ball playing. It's not just perfection; it's comfortable on the ball. It's ball playing. That's what he wanted. He wanted something. Remember, like, do you remember? Well, I'm sure you remember. Do you remember when we were in the Carabao Cup or Carling Cup final, whatever it was?
He wanted ball playing, but he also needs you to be a good enough goalkeeper. Because he signed Taylor. He signed who's the first one he signed from Barca?
He signed Bravo.
He was a ball playing goalkeeper. Then he said, you know what? You're not good enough at saving the ball.
You're rubbish.
Someone else.
But you know the difference is that Bravo was his ball playing wasn't that great that season either, and nor was he, and he was absolutely very poor in the goalkeeping department. So there was nothing really outstanding about him. If you look at Onana on the feet as a ball playing centre half, ball playing goalkeeper, he's one of the best. After Edison, he's probably the best and most comfortable with the ball at his feet.
His job is to make saves.
But listen, I know we're older fans, but we all see the way in which the game's been played and how Pep Guardiola's changed the way football is, right? And how the top managers want a goalkeeper, especially if you want to be the best teams, right, in Europe, you want a goalkeeper that's really comfortable with the ball at his feet. And the only one that, in my opinion, in world football that does both to a very high level, and his feet might not be as good as others, is Alisson. And Alisson is a unicorn. There's no one else in world football who is an outstanding shot stopper, who's also outstanding at his feet. So usually there's one at the top level and one.
I think both arguments do exist. Like my argument, your argument, but I'm just saying in general. I just feel like he's been, because it's like we're watching his ball playing the same thing. But as an overall goalkeeper, I wouldn't give him a high FIFA card like at all. He wouldn't get.
I agree. He's been poor. I don't disagree with any.
No, in general, I wouldn't give him one in general anyway.
He definitely shouldn't have started with the goalkeeper too.
Yeah. But yeah, you know what? Look, time will tell, man. And if United and Ten Hag don't fix up, right, he's only going to look worse, and his confidence is only going to get, and he's only going to become worse and worse. Because that's not the type of keeper.
Go on, sorry.
That's not the type of keeper you want having 20 shots on goal. That is not the type of keeper you want. Neither is Edison. I maintain that. I would not want to see Edison getting peppered because he's not that guy. He's really not. But
United won a game all September. That's crazy, you know.
Bro, it is crazy, bro. It's crazy. So
what do you think? What do you think?
Well,
They're playing that turf more.
Onana, like Rashford, delivery boy ain't been delivering that. We got my man over there. We got Bruno sulking on the pitch.
Did you man see Bruno's comments?
They're definitely beefing, innit?
Like,
hey, hold on. Did you man see Bruno's comments?
No.
Yeah, like what do you mean? It's like we didn't expect to come here and you wouldn't expect us to win the game or compete. Like, what the hell? You played for Man United, bro.
Bro, that's the captain, bro. Man came out and said we didn't. No one expected us to.
Some replies, but I didn't read it. Go on,
bro. It's absolutely like when you can. Could you imagine a captain under Sir Alex coming out and saying that? No fucking chance.
The boot kicked in his head,
bro. You'd be shipped off, bro. You're going to Bayern, and let's keep it 100 as well, right? Let's touch on this Bayern Munich game. Firstly, Tommy Tuchel's a bum, right? I've maintained this for a very long time. I do not rate him as a manager. It's funny how Bayern have regressed since he's come in. Yeah, Nagelsmann did a better job. He came in, struggled to win the Bundesliga, won it because Dortmund fluffed their lines. I think he got knocked out both cups when he came in as well. And even at Chelsea, I didn't rate it. And I see Chelsea fans talking, oh, but he won a Champions League. I seen Di Matteo win a Champions League. It don't mean nothing, bro. Winning a cup competition is not reflective of how good you are. The league is always an indication of how good a manager is. Yeah. A cup. I'm trying to say to you, right? So it's not. If this was the Hansi Flick Bayern team, or the Pep Bayern Munich team, they would have ran through United with ease. But they just it was a piss poor performance from Bayern Munich, in my opinion. Like at home to concede that level of goal, to concede 3 goals,
3-1 up, yeah, and then to do the game that is crazy,
bro. It's mad. It is mad, and
it just looked like.
I think that's just indicative of how bad Bayern are. But United are just a shit show right now.
Bayern were playing FIFA. They was like, you know what? When you score, I'll go all out attack for the next 5 minutes and score a goal, and then I'll go back into playing balanced. It was just that they were just playing in gear 2. They decided when they wanted to score, and that's what they did. But both teams. But Rashford was poor. Højlund is like obviously he's just come. He's trying to prove to the fans he's working hard. I'm not gonna lie, but the rest of them are just looking shocking. Like I see United fans talking about how good Reguilon is as a left back. I'm like, you like have fell from grace.
Yeah, that is brazen. The way they talk about him and that.
But you know what it is? The man been starved, bro. Their man ain't had an overlapping fullback, so they see an overlapping fullback all of a sudden. Like it's a phenomenon. He runs past, he overlaps, right? True. Man's doing the bare minimum. But I can't lie. As an Arsenal fan, there's been moments when we sign somebody and they do some of the, like I remember when Torreira came in and he looks like a bit of a pit bull and he's doing the bare minimum. You start gassing him up. Oh yeah, he's this and that. It's because we've been starved, bro. We've been starved for real quality for so long. That you put these players on a pedestal that they're never at.
To be fair, regarding the game, if United don't come away with 3 points, there's some serious questions that need to be asked of Ten Hag, because Burnley haven't lit the world afire. Company's got them coming up. I thought they were good against City. In the first game, didn't get anything. But I can't really see how much problems they should cause United. But United, they're in a bit of a dark place right now, in the sunken zone. So you never know.
So they could get a draw.
Yeah, you never know what may happen, especially if Burnley score first. United might go into that real sunken place and might not come out that hole. So I'm actually seeing a draw. I'm actually seeing a 1-1. And that's what I'm thinking.
That'd be beautiful.
I can't see United I just can't see them getting back to that confidence straight away. I think Company will play on it. Burnley fans will know it. The stadium will get behind them. The players will get stuck in. And I think they'll score first, and it will end as a 1-1.
They'll be hard to break down. We know that.
This is their first run of a little of an easier congestion list, a fixture list, shall I say? I think they've got Burnley, and then they've got Palace twice, one in the cup, one in the league, and then they've got Brentford, and they've got Sheffield United. So if they are to kind of turn things around, they need to start with 3 points on Saturday, and it's an evening kickoff. Turf Moor's not traditionally not been an easy place to go, but if they, for Ten Hag's job, he needs a W, because these set of fixtures are the easy fixtures, and then it gets harder afterwards. Then they got City, and then they got Fulham away, and then it gets a lot more trickier. So
FM, when they say, "Okay, I'm judging you in your next 3 games," isn't it? Because right now right now you're operating at a C minus. The fans, that's where he stands right now. So
no confidence.
yeah. So the board's not confident in you. The next 3 games will determine if and then that's where it sits. But I'm with Chinny. I think it will be a draw, 1-1. I think I'm not sure if Burnley will score first, but they will be hard. I'm hoping. I don't know if I'm hoping or I think, but they'll be hard to break down. But I don't see United not scoring, so I'm gonna go 1-1 as well.
You know what? Yeah, I really want it to be a 1-1, just because I want to see Ten Hag. I want to see United in the doldrums. But for some reason, they've got this thing, United, where they lull you into this point where, even like last season, when they started off getting smashed by Brentford and Brighton, and you're thinking, oh shit, it's getting peak for United, and all of a sudden they just scumbag their way into a couple wins. And I feel like they're just going to scumbag their way into a W, you know what I mean, with their directness and their running power. I think it's going to be tricky for them. Don't get twisted. Burnley do play good football. It's a tough game. They've just come back from a tough trip to, the Allianz Arena. But yeah, I don't know. I just got this gut feeling saying they're going to scumbag it to a 2-1 or 3-1, maybe like a penalty. Or
10 days are over, bro. They're over.
Move on to my loves.
Can I start this? Let me talk. Let me just give you some praise. I mean, not that you not that you guys have been playing that well, but I want to talk about someone in particular, because I feel like he's coming. Just talk about Darwin, because we spoke about it not too long ago about Klopp doesn't make good subs. Or not, he's not a good tactical manager, and blah blah blah.
No, but you know what Miss White's gonna say? It's not his sub. He just came on, told to go up front.
The way he's managed Darwin, and the way he understands the chaos, the good chaos that Darwin brings to his forward line, is that, I mean, it's not that hard to see. But the way Klopp plays him it's making sense. Like, obviously, you lot played LA Rams official the other day, and got the 3-1 win. But Darwin is looking quite good. What's he got? 4 goals and 3 assists. 3 goals, and some of them off the bench.
I don't know my head, but yeah, similar, quite close.
He's looking sharp, and regardless of whether he's missing chances, because he's not like that defined as like a goal scorer. So he causes so much problems that he's gonna get 2, 3, 4 chances in a game, and one of them is going to go in. So that's just my praise that I have for Liverpool. In terms of the game that is about to play out, I think West Ham have been quite good this season, especially compared to last season in the league. They started off well. Obviously, they got a bit of a humbling last week to Man City. Doku had 2 fouls on ice skates, so that didn't help. I think that you guys can cause similar issues going forward, but in terms of the defensive unit and being able to defend, especially against James Ward-Prowse, who's really, really on form right now, and his set pieces are actually crazy. I think Mr. Y touched on it earlier in our earlier episodes of how James Ward-Prowse is just going to feed into David Moyes' ball. He's doing exactly that. So I think it's going to be a real tricky game. The benefit is that obviously you guys are at Anfield, so that's the real benefit. Whenever you guys are there, it always sways in a Liverpool direction. But I think it'll be a hard game. I think the physical aspects of West Ham will cause you guys some problems, and you just won't want to be giving too much set pieces away. But Salah and Nunez, the way they're playing right now, it's hard to see you guys not coming away with a win. I feel like you always score more than one because of them and that, and then it's hard for other teams to come to Anfield and score more than one too. So for me, I see a 2-1 win to you guys, just again purely based on the problems that you can cause other teams' defenses.
Mr. Y?
Yeah, you see all this Klopp loving and Darwin and all this. I don't subscribe to that level of thinking. I'm going to keep it 100 with you, bro. I keep saying this, quality always shines. And that's all it is. I just think you lot, and I've said this before, Liverpool are blessed with the best attacking depth in the league. And I feel like that is what it is. You know, that forward line of Diaz, Jota, Mo Salah, Cody Gakpo, there's just so much. There's so much talent at Klopp's disposal. And what he does have is that ability to be like, Cody Gakpo ain't working. I'll just bring on Darwin Nunez. Darwin Nunez ain't working. If this person ain't working, I can bring on this. And it's not like he's changed. And the reason why I look at it like this is because he's not tactically changing anything. He's just changing personnel. And he has the quality.
One thing, yeah. You see last week when they played, who did he play? Wolves.
Yeah.
He changed something even after Gakpo scored, and he created a box. A box of 4.
And he's reverted back to his, and in game he's gone to 4.
Last week was the first time I actually saw him. I actively saw a change on the pitch. Like he created a box of 4 and basically played a front 4 and created a box in midfield with it. And that was the first time I actually saw a tactical change. But,
he's moved to 4-2-4 and back and into 4-3-3 throughout games. Obviously we've gone 1-0 down quite regularly, so he's made those changes obviously, and asked personnel to do different jobs. You know, with Dominic having to sit a lot deeper, or Maka being able to push forward, etc. But
if I'm not mistaken, I did give Liverpool credit, and I wasn't sure if it was instruction or not, but I remember in the game against Wolves, I remember Dominic Szoboszlai coming into a more deeper position and kind of helping build up from there. And I said, that was a nice little adjustment, right? And, you know, I kind of dropped a little jab. I was like, I wasn't sure if it was Dominic Szoboszlai or if it was Klopp that made that. I don't know who decided that, if that was a player's intelligence to kind of see things were working. But
Klopp turned to get deeper. Yeah, you've seen Klopp
in
even
general,
push him
what I'm
out
saying to you,
in the other game. In the other game, I can't remember, was it not Villa, Bournemouth? He was pushed out as a right winger or something, like one of those, and then we went to 2 up top. So Klopp,
but in general, right?
Let's not rob Klopp.
All right, let me make this point very succinctly, so it's kind of like more digestible. If Man City are drawing 0-0, right, and Klopp just says, all right, Grealish off, Doku on, I'd be like, good sub. I'm not going to be like, it was a great tact. That's not Pep changing the whole, like doing something huge tactically. It's just they've got good quality. You got somebody else who offers. It's a bit different because Grealish and Doku offer 2 different things. But let's say there was a like for like sub, and he switched Grealish with a like for like player. I'd just be like, okay, that's natural sub. But I see Guardiola go and make changes. So he'll go and put, you know, Alvarez as a second striker all of a sudden, right? And he'll play him as a second striker, or he'll play him as a cam and bring him into midfield, right? There's different. That is what I'm talking about in terms of Klopp, which I don't see as much, right? Like for like subs, I give the manager credit. You make that substitute, you deserve the round of applause if it changes the games. But it's not when they're also similar. When they're also similar, you make changes. So if you change, who you got on the left, who you got on the right wing. So who did you start off with the right wing against Wolves? Left wing, sorry.
Wolves.
Yeah.
Jota.
Yeah. So
Jota started.
So you switched Jota for a who did you switch him for? You switched him for Diaz, right? It's just a natural. It's a natural thing. It's not. They're very kind of similar, direct players going behind,
They're not similar.
But I'm saying to you, in terms of threat, I know Diaz is more of a dribbler, but in general, there's not much. There's not much to it. It's just very simple stuff. And if he gets simple stuff right, well done to him. I'll applaud him for that. But generally speaking, I don't see Klopp make great tactical changes in games. Like even against Wolves, he tried to play Gomez as an inverted right back because Trent wasn't there.
So how do you see this game planning out?
All right. Funny you ask. I think this is going to be the game where Liverpool get caught out. I think this is a game where they drop points, and I can see a draw or an L pending. I just think that there's been a few games where Liverpool's attack has bailed them out of uncomfortable situations, and I feel like you can't, unless you make changes to the system, and if Klopp does something inventive and finds a way to stop being penetrated, that's cool, and they can shut out West Ham. But if he doesn't, I can see that West Ham have enough going forward, especially through set pieces, with James Ward-Prowse, with Agard, Zuma, Antonio. It's going to be a problem. And obviously, they've still got quality in that midfield. Kudos is there. Paquette is there. So I can see them causing Liverpool problems. And Liverpool have let up chances this season so far. It's not like they shut you out completely. We saw West Ham score against City, and they could have scored another one had Antonio had a better touch. So I genuinely see an end result where West Ham scrapes something from that game, just because they have that ability to kind of hold out and then exploit, and they've got players that can exploit that. Jared Bowen's direct, Antonio's direct. So I'm thinking maybe like a 2-2 draw. I know it's Anfield, but I just feel like every single game Liverpool have conceded chance, even against, LA Galaxy, whoever it was they played in midweek, they conceded chances. It's a repetitive theme of Liverpool so far. And until I see that stop, I always talk about sustainability, and I don't think that's sustainable. You can't just keep winning games and allow the other teams to just keep on having chance after chance and good chances on goal. So I know Owen gonna like that, but it is what it is, man. I think
I'm actually in agreement with you. I think again, sustainability is one of our big issues. I was on Twitter the other day and I saw someone tweet, "Oh, Liverpool stats are off the bench subs," and I was like, "Bro, this is not sustainable. We are. How many times do you want to hear we're 1-0 down, having to fight back? Like we obviously don't have our like Mr. White said a lot of time. Our attack bails us out, but that's the only place we got real depth, real quality of depth." And I had Liverpool fans, but that's not what it said. We need to. Why are you being that person? Why are you not enjoying the fact that these stats were saying this? And I was like, bro, like, are you serious? This what you're getting excited about? That's stats. I don't even want to even see them stats. I want to see us be winning the game from 1-0, scoring early, and seeing out the game like we did. The only game I feel like we convincingly played that game was Aston Villa.
Yeah,
where I feel like it wasn't a 1-0. Oh Jesus! Like it was a game that we played well from start to finish. I think. Again, I said if they score, if we concede, it will be a mistake from us. We've gone into games with a mentality of they come in saying we will look at Antonio's podcast. Like you have to understand is that like again, like Mr. White said, it's not sustainable. We are in a position now where teams are going back and going, oh, okay, cool. I'll run at them. There will be chances. We can play as long as they're attacking us. We're defending for like the first whatever. We're going to 45 minutes in a game and not having a chance and having our first chance, our first shot on target. That's crazy to me. I feel like this is our first real test, and this is the perfect time personally to have this test because we go into Tottenham next. We go into a run of we have to how many points we get, and this game will determine. They're gonna play very physical, and we know Liverpool, even when we're playing well, physicality was never really their best thing. You always had, play Brentford. You always had Tony just sitting on our centre backs, physical, and Tony will do the same thing, and that's where we've always struggled. And like you said, sustainability. We can't keep going into games hoping our attack bails us out, and that's the conversation I was having with Liverpool fans, and it was against what I was saying, which was crazy. So. All I'm saying is I'm a real fan. I don't want to see my team go down 1-0 and be talking about stats, how we're winning, bringing the game back. We saw it again yesterday. It was embarrassing. Like our centre backs were our starting centre backs. I don't care what nobody says, like about our inverted right back and whatnot. It should have been better. And watching Endo, bloody hell, I can see why Maka plays. I see why Maka plays. So for me personally, it's going to be a real test. I think we win 2-1, but it's going to be
that bad. Is he that bad, Endo?
He weren't that bad, but he got the hook in it. Like he was what he is. What he is, a £16 million CDS6, bro. Like he is exactly what he is. It was no difference with. He made some decent challenges, but again, Maka could have sat. I didn't really see a difference of Maka sat in there or he sat in there.
The biggest compliment
I think better. Don't get it wrong, because I've seen him play. Even when he played against Germany, I saw some signs, but I ain't seen that yet. So personally, but I do feel like it'll be a hard game. It'll be a good test. 2-1 win to Liverpool. Anfield will be the difference decided it.
Biggest compliment I can give you is when you guys were on form, I used to worry about how we're going to even penetrate you lot. Will we get chances, right? When this season, it'll be, if I was to play Liverpool, I'd be worried just about your defense, your attack, sorry. That's the only thing that gives me fear. I know we'd be able to create. It'd be more like, can we deal with that attack?
They can. Anyone that attacks us can keep the ball in midfield and in our own half, like Wolves did very well, and that can go on for 45 minutes without us really trying to get in the ball and penetrating. So it's one of those things where, again, it's a test I'm looking forward to, because I really want, especially after everything Antonio said, I really want to see my team show fight and not go 1-0 down in physicality and all of that. But it has to be one in the midfield. So Klopp's got a lot of questions he's got to ask his players.
Shout out Mikel Antonio as well, because he's been talking shit this season and he's been backing up. Like, I know he's talking big on his pod, right? But he's putting performances. And he looks completely different to what last season it looked like. I was looking at Antonio like, is he finished? Is he done? Because he didn't look like he had that, you know what I mean? He didn't look like he had that horsepower last season. But this season, he looks like he's back with vengeance, boy. So he's a problem, and he's always a problem. You know what I mean?
See, machine through Forest. I mean, this is really the worst part of the show, because we talk about City, and there's never anything really new to talk about with them. Like, they've got a couple injuries. They're still pulling out the same performances. They seem to be able to just directly replace, and players just come up with the performance level that's a 7 or above. Alvarez comes in, plays at 10. Doku's come in. Whoever's at centre back, whether it be Diaz, Guavio, Ake, Joe, that someone's always there, readily available to do a job. Kyle Walker is ever present, and it's like it's like he's getting better and faster. I really don't understand it, but somehow he is. And Haaland's missing three clean opportunities a game and still scoring. And no one cares, because they're just still winning by 2 goals, by 3 goals. It's hard to see any team stopping them right now, because they can afford to miss so many chances and still win the game comfortably. I think the only game where they looked like there was in any kind of real danger was the Fulham game before that disallowed goal. No, before the goal stood, sorry. And maybe the Sheffield United game, but I feel like they had that one under control.
Burnley as well, I'd say, man. That Burnley game, they had some chances, man.
Yeah, I mean, first game of the season is always hard to judge. But yeah, I guess City took their chance. But yeah, it's really hard to see any team just getting a dub, or even coming away with a point over City. Like, I'm watching Arsenal games, and we're working for our win and we get it. And then I'm watching a City game, like, come on, man, take a point off them, make them drop points. And it's just a never-ending story. Like, they go 1-0 down, it doesn't matter. They're coming back at some point. But, they played midweek. I'd have preferred for them to have a harder opponent than Forest, but Forest can be dangerous. Alanga's looks good since being there. Obviously, they lost Brennan they lost Johnson, but they've got a few other players that can play. They've got Hudson-Odoi who came and scored the other day. So yeah, hopefully they can cause City some problems and come away with a draw. But in all honesty, I don't see it going any way but City win.
I think this iteration of City is scary, man, because they've been like, again, just like last season, they haven't been that good, but they still just win. They find a way just to win without being out, without playing slick, fluid football, and they just get the W. And they make it look so easy and so professional. Like, even when you look at the game midweek against Red Star, wasn't their best game. Didn't play particularly well. The goalkeeper made a massive blunder for the second goal. But they just know how to just do the job. Like, they know how to do the bare minimum or just above the bare minimum to scrape that result. And that's what's annoying, because usually when a team is playing, when a team's not at it, they usually drop points. When they're not having performances that are at the level, they drop points, because the Premier League is very much punishing. But City just seem to defy the odds and just continually find a way to grind out that results. And that's why we call them the machine. And as an Arsenal fan, it's frustrating, because you're just looking at like, you lot played, you know what I mean? Like, you lot could have conceded here and conceded there, but this team weren't clinical, or they fluffed this chance, and etc. Or you got this little bit of luck against Fulham, and you just watch it like, they just, by hook or by crook, they get it done. So I think obviously it's going to be another game with another low block for them to break down. They're at home, so you'd expect them to win this comfortably. But Forest are no joke. I mean, they signed some good players. It depends on how they gel. And
I'm saying 3-0, bro.
If they get any luck, yeah, man. I'd say 3-0, man.
Straight, I think it's a free. I think City's just gonna unleash on them. Like, they drew a game where, like, Haaland the rope does not miss, or Alvarez. One of them's just gonna go and just, that's over. I think it's a wrap. Like, Nottingham Forest is not gonna be able to handle it.
I'm glad you said Alvarez, bro, because he's been their main man this season. He's been better. He's been better than Haaland by far.
Yeah,
right.
He is a good player, very, very good player.
Even that free kick he smacked off the bar against West Ham, like, it was a bad boy free kick, and he just does a little bit of everything. He can shoot, he can dribble, he can create, and with KDB out, he's kind of taken on that mantle of, I'm a creator, I'm gonna do something in these games. Yeah. He scored a banger against Newcastle, got them the winning goal in that game, if I'm not mistaken.
What about Forest, though? You guys see Forest even giving them? I don't see Forest giving them any trouble, to be fair. I know I think for a minute they'll hold out, and then once City get their first goal, I reckon they're gonna just. I would see 3-0.
I see Forest struggling this whole season until like January. They've gone and signed how many players this season again?
Then
so it's going to be another, like, it's going to take about 4 or 5 months for them to bed in. They signed some good players, quality, but it's just too many. Like, the sheer volume of players brought in is too much, and it's almost like they got to click again. And
do you guys think Forest slow down?
Nah.
Do we have things going now?
No.
Cool. Yeah, I can't see that. I just think it's just, like you guys say, machine, keep it pushing, nets, and
yeah, man. The machine goes on, boy.
Bad life that we're living right now.
We always get like this when we talk about it in a minute.
I can't wait for Pep to go, Man destroys football for me, bro.
Will Chelsea get their first W? Because we're not counting Luton. That's just a free hit at everyone. So
the team that loses to Luton, Town, yeah, is going to be a laughingstock on Twitter for a while,
We pray.
You know what? It'd be fun if it was City, just because they'll probably pepper everybody and then lose to Luton or something mad like that. You never know.
What? That's a shout, That's a shout.
You know what? I see Villa going and hitting Chelsea for 3-4-1. Because Chelsea's lack of goal scorers is actually crazy. And without people being able to put the ball in the net, you can't win games, especially when you're coming up against another attacking force. So when you're coming up against a Luton or something where you're peppering the goal, eventually sometimes you might hit 1 or 2 because you're just peppering the goal. But they're not going to be doing that against Villa because Villa are a decent side. They work hard. They've got a few players in midfield that can play. And then they've got the likes of Diaby, who's started great for them. They've got Watkins, who can score a goal. They've got Bailey, who likes to chip in. And I can really see them giving Chelsea a damning time.
Do you know what's crazy? Villa rested a lot of players yesterday, and they played well. So talk about quality and depth. Obviously, I'm not saying they're the superstars, but I was very impressed with them yesterday, considering how much players they left for the Chelsea game and how they like all the players you've named, the way they've embedded into their signings, embedded in. It's Villa's. I see the thing about I got this thing about Chelsea. I was giving this Man United thing. I don't know what it is where I feel like they will just walk out with the win. I know it makes no sense considering what we've like how their season's gone so far, but I have this thing about Chelsea. It's just like even when they're playing rubbish, I feel like they're gonna go on a little run or of like just winning 1-0s and whatnot. But I expect Villa. This is a game where Villa should really be fancying and they should win. For me personally,
I think Villa draw, man. Unai Emery's record after Europe's poor. Chelsea ain't that great. I could just see it being. I could see it being either a draw or maybe Villa scrape a win. I don't see Chelsea winning, but yeah, just based on Unai Emery, obviously.
I feel like you guys just hate him. It wasn't one way where you guys could learn that.
Bro, I keep it 100. I don't like Emery. I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't rate him that highly. I've always said this.
Good evening.
Like not for an Arsenal, not for us. For a smaller team like Villa, great. But not for a big boy team. He just doesn't have the minerals for a big boy team. But like I said, his European record is fantastic, especially in the Europa League. I expect him to do well in the Conference League. But also, whenever he does well in Europe, I've always said it doesn't translate to the league. He always struggles in the league. And it's always because the next game after Europe, they tend to lose or not get the results. He's never managed that load efficiently or well historically throughout his career. So I could see it being a draw personally. I don't think Chelsea have the firepower to win. So naturally, I'd go for a draw. I'd probably go for maybe like a 1-1 or a 2-2 if anything.
Expected that they're saying they could get a W they could get all 3 points. But again, that's the thing that with them Chelsea being Chelsea, I can see Chelsea nicking a point. I want Villa to win, obviously, but
yeah, bro. I want Poch out, bro. Well, not Poch out, but I want Poch to stay. But I want the heat to be put on Poch, so it'd be nice to see them catch an L. I like to see Ten Hag and Poch in the, you know what I mean, in the doldrums, bro, in that firing pit word.
Got some Siamese twins. Chinny, what do you think?
Yeah, man. Like I said, I think Villa are gonna wrap them. I'm of a different thought process to Mr. White. I feel like Villa will rout Chelsea. Both teams are a bit lackluster, but Villa have shown that they can score goals. And I think that's the main thing for me, that Chelsea are not that great defensively either. But the fact that Villa can score goals will cause a problem.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good place. Is it a placeholder, like my manager would say? We'll leave it there and we'll wrap up. I just want to say, firstly, thank you to everybody who's watching, who's tuned in. Make sure you're following, like, subscribe, on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Also, thank you. Make sure you're commenting as well. Even post, go into the YouTube comments and go on YouTube and comment. We're always watching that as well. If anybody has any comments different to what we have, or any points or anything you want us to touch on a little bit more, I want to thank my co-hosts, Chinny and Mr. Y. Is there anything you guys want to say to everyone before we wrap up?
Love as usual. Keep reposting, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep commenting. Help us grow and help us maybe talk about some topics that we don't cover. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Keep up.
Yeah, and if you got anything you want us to talk about, to debate, just throw it up in the comments and we'll keep an eye out for it. But yeah, love as Chinny said, and yeah, man, appreciate the support. Keep liking, subscribing. I mean, all that good stuff.
Big games on the weekend, so we'll probably be catching up and seeing our faces very, very, very soon. But thank you.
Mhm.
Over and out.
Peace.